Namaskaram students. In the previous class part we have learned about the introduction of depreciation. Now in today's session we are going to learn about the objectives of depreciation, causes of depreciation, characteristics of depreciation and factors determining the amount of depreciation and what are all the methods. There are several methods are there. Totally we are going to learn 9 methods in 11th standard. In detail we are going to learn about only 2 methods, straight line method and also return of value method. So now let us move on to the objectives of providing depreciation. Why we are providing depreciation? To find out the true profit or loss. Already let us recall what is depreciation means. What? Depreciation, it is the process of allocation of the relevant cost of fixed assets over its useful life. This is known as depreciation, isn't it? Already we have seen. So it is the allocation of cost against the benefit derived from the fixed assets during an accounting period. So first objective is to find out the true profit or loss. Already we have seen about the matching principle. Matching principle means what? Particular year expenses will be matched with particular year income, isn't it? So according to matching principle, the expenses incurred during a period must be matched with the revenue earned during that period. Whatever the expenses must be matched with the income during the accounting period, the same accounting period. So when an asset is used for generating an income for business, why we are using the asset? To generate the income only we are using the asset. So the cost of the asset attributable to the use, isn't it? So the reduction in the book value of the asset. For example, we have purchased the asset for rupees 1 lakh. After the depreciation, while on the purchase note in that particular year, we will write the value of the asset in our book. We will write 1 lakh. After providing 1 year, after the accounting period over, we will provide 10,000. 10% we can, for example, we can take 10%. 10% means we will reduce 10,000 rupees. So what will be the book value? Book value will be 90,000. So the book value will be reduced. So the reduction in the book value of the asset proportionate to the benefit derived from it. So 10,000 worth of we have used the machine. So that is called, whatever we have utilized from the asset is called depreciation. So it is charged against the revenue. The depreciation is charged against the revenue. Revenue means income. So this is to be done. Why we are doing this one? To find out the correct cost of production. To find out the true cost of production. See, we are using the machine. We are using the machine and we are getting the product. So the machine, how much depreciate? How much the machine will depreciate? So after the depreciation, we will provide depreciation. Provision means what? Charge against. We are arranging the money, arranging the cost for future use. We are allocating the cost for future use. That is called provision. We are arranging the money for future use is called provision. So after providing depreciation, we will derive the true cost of production. And what will be the result? We can get the profit or loss of the business for even an accounting period. For every accounting period, we will provide like this only. After providing the depreciation only, we can know the correct profit or loss. To present the true and fair view, see, in a company, they have to provide that the balance sheet to the public, isn't it? So listed company. After 10,000 first year depreciation. The next year 90,000 rupees, isn't it? So next year we will provide 90,000 rupees in the book. So in this only, year by year the value of the asset will reduce. So the balance represents the value of the benefit that is yet to be derived further. So 90,000 worth of machine value is there. We want to yet to utilize the asset. So the written down value is the true value of the fixed asset, which represents cost not yet written off. Written down value means year by year the cost of the fixed assets will reduce. So the balance sheet must represent a true and fair view of the financial status. So previous year we have provided 1 lakh rupees. Then next year 10,000 rupees after charging the depreciation. What will be the total value of the asset? 90,000 rupees. In that amount only in this year we are going to provide depreciation 10%. This year the amount will be 9,000 rupees. So every year the amount will be reduced. So after charging depreciation we have to know the correct profit or loss. So the correct profit or loss will reveal the true and fair view of the business. So hence fixed assets are shown at the written down value. Fixed assets will shown at the written down value. Then another one thing, already I have told you this 10,000 rupees. See 10%. I am going to allocate for every year. At last 10th year, what will be the balance? It will written off. Written off means it will reduce. It will become one day, it will become zero balance. So I am allocating the resources. Every year I am taking 10,000 rupees and I am depositing in my account. I assume that 10,000 worth of depreciation asset will depreciate. So after 10 years or after 5 years I want to purchase the same asset. So it is facilitated for replacement. So why we are allocating for depreciation? After 5 years or after 7 years the asset value will be more. So that now itself we are providing, arranging the fund that is called. So it is very easy for us to replace the asset. So when the depreciation is debited to profit and loss account, it is debited to profit and loss account. Why we are debiting to profit and loss account? It is an expenses. Depreciation is an expenses. As per the nominal account rule, debit all expenses and losses. So an equal amount is either retained in the business, whether we will retain in the business premises or we can reinvest in the any other outside the business. We can reinvest. We can invest in the outside of the business or we can retain in our business premises itself. Business premises itself we can allocate 10,000 rupees fund in a separate locker. We can save the money. That is also possible. Otherwise we can, the same 10,000 worth of amount of money will be invested in some other. We can buy the share or we can buy mutual fund. So we can invest outside because to replace the asset. So when the useful life of an asset means it will use the fixed asset will use for 10 years, for example. After the useful life of the assets was exhausted, was over, it will come to an end. A new asset can be purchased by using the resource available in the business. Are you clear? Whatever, now itself I am allocating the resources. Allocating the money means after the useful life of the asset, after 10 years, after 9 years, I can purchase the new machinery without any hurdles. Then to avoid tax benefits, to the shareholders. So this is how objectives of providing depreciation. Now let us move on to causes of depreciation. Wear and tear. First cause, wear and tear, effects of time, obsolescence, inadequacy for the purpose, lack of maintenance, abnormal factors. First one, let us take wear and tear. We are using the machine, isn't it? For past 1 year or 2 years we are using. So the parts will get wear and tear because of the usage and passage. So there are the normal use of tangible asset resulting in the physical deterioration. It will deteriorate means, see, daily we are using the machine means what will happen? The screw may something get damaged, or we have to change the screw, or we have to change the any other spring, anything else will get damaged. So which is called, that is called wear and tear. So when there is wear and tear, value of the asset decrease proportionately. See, we can take for example, we are taking the tailoring machine. What will happen? Often we are using the machine same again and again. The parts may get damaged. So because of that, the value of the tailoring machine will get proportionately, it will decrease, isn't it? Then effects of time. So effects of time means certain assets, whether used or not, it become potentially less useful with its passage of time. Whether we are using it or not, it is not a problem. See, for example, typewriting machine. On those days, typewriting machine was very famous. Nowadays, we will use the typewriting machine or not, no problem, because it will replace laptop, tablet will replace the place in the typewriting. So that because of passage of time, it will become an old model. That is called effects of time. Then obsolescence also. It is a reduction in the value of asset. As a result, the availability of updated alternative asset. See, nowadays we are using lot of new methods, new laptop, computer, tablet. So many new things we are using. So because of the technology development, we are using the new methods. So the old machine will become useless, obsolescence. So this happens due to new invention and innovation. So through the original asset, it is an usable condition. Even though the typewriting is in a usable condition, means we are not going to utilize the typewriting machine because so many innovations are there. So we want to see income tax, they are going to ask all your accounts in a 3D format, means whether it is possible to do everything in a typewriting machine. No, you are going to use, you have to submit your return in the, or else they will ask you to send your return through mail. So computer only possible for you to file the return through mail, isn't it? Even though typewriting is in a usable condition, we can't use because they are updated. The world is updated. The others are updated. So we must be updated. So it is not preferred by the users and it lost its value. So it is not preferred by the users, isn't it? So many office they don't want to get the typewriting format. They ask you to provide in Excel format or Word format, or most of them EX next generation format, Tally format. So everything is updated. So they don't want this old format. For example, preference of latest computers by the users. Latest advanced version only they want to submit your accounts. Means what you will do? You are not going to type the format, all the letterhead, everything is not needed. You can send the mail through to the income tax office. Then inadequacy for the purpose. Sometimes the use of assets may be stopped So you have used a lot of time. It will exhaust their inadequacy. It is not giving that much of production. Means what you will do? You are not going to use the asset. Use the machine, isn't it? You have to purchase another one machine because you have get order for 1000 product. Your machine will give only production for 500 product. Means whether it is useful for you? No. You are going to get the new machine. So these may become inadequate due to expansion in the capacity of the firm. You have to expand your firm means you want to buy the new machines. Then lack of maintenance. You are purchasing the machinery. For example, tailoring machine you can take, or you can take a computer, or you can take any electric conditions laptop. Whatever it may be, if you have purchased means you should use it. You have to maintain. If you are not maintaining the asset, the machine will get spoiled. That is also one of the reason for depreciation. So we are not going to use that in a proper manner. Means we can't get the good result. It will depreciate. So a good maintenance will naturally increase the life of the asset. When there is no proper maintenance, there is a possibility of more depreciation. Then abnormal factors. Abnormal factors what will come because of where there is a decline in the useful life of fixed assets may be caused by abnormal factors like any damage due to fire accident, or any damage due to natural calamity like rain, flood, anything else. So these may lead to the state of an asset being discarded. See, you are having a 10 lakhs worth of machine. Unexpectedly, your factory was full of flood. What will happen? So even though you have given for the repair, the machine will not going to work. So in that case, the fixed asset will become obsolescence, become more depreciation. This is one of the cause of depreciation. Then what is the characteristics of depreciation? Let us see. Next, let us move on to characteristics of depreciation. Depreciation means what? It is the process of allocation of cost of depreciation, depreciable asset, isn't it? So it is a capital expenditure. We are investing in a machine means, see for example, this we can take for business entity concept. So business, we will do the business for the long run. We will assume that only, isn't it? So that only the proprietor is different from the business. So even though proprietor is providing the capital, so that is also treated as a credit, isn't it? So it is a capital expenditure to revenue expenditure or profit and loss account over the useful life of asset. Throughout the useful life of asset means that asset we are purchasing, isn't it? So that asset will be useful for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. So that is called useful life of an asset. Then it is the process of allocation of cost, not the process of valuation. We are allocating the cost. Every year we are providing the depreciation, isn't it? So we are arranging the money for the future. That is called provision. So that is the allocation of cost. Every year we are taking the money. For after 10 years we have to purchase the same machinery. For that reason, now itself we are allocating the cost. Then it is the process. We are not allocating the process of valuation. We are not valuing the asset. We are allocating the cost of an asset. Then it is a decrease in the book value of asset, not the market value of the asset. It will decrease in the book value of the asset. For example, you have purchased the machinery for rupees 1 lakh. After first year depreciation, the asset will become 90,000 rupees because this year we will provide 10% depreciation. 10,000 rupees means the asset will become 90,000. So it will decrease in the book value of the asset. See, for example, 2019 you have purchased the machine for 1 lakh. 2020 the asset value will become 90,000. Are you clear? So it will reduce in the book value of the asset, not the market value. After purchasing the asset, the machine cost in the market may increase because there is a demand for the product. Whereas in our book value, it will decrease because we charge the depreciation. Then gradual and continuous decrease. It's quite natural. Next year you are going to provide the depreciation. So that gradual and continuous decrease in the book value of the asset over its useful life. How long you are going to use this asset? Up to that 10 years means 10 years you are going to provide the depreciation. The book value is going to reduce year by year. Then only we are going to charge depreciation for tangible assets. Intangible assets we are not going to provide depreciation. So it is calculated for tangible depreciable fixed asset. Depreciation is not provided on intangible and wasting assets. Intangible means you know very well. Goodwill, patent rights, trademark. So these are all the intangible assets. Isn't it? We are not going to use for intangible asset. We are not going to see the asset. Whatever the visible asset, tangible assets, we are going to charge the depreciation. Let us know about wasting of asset. Wasting asset. What is meant by wasting asset? Wasting asset means it is a property or security that has a limited life and losses value over its life. That is called wasting asset. So how does a wasting asset will work in depreciation? Let us see. See, assets have a useful life, isn't it? Asset means what is the meaning? It has a useful life. So usually based on the period of time that they have productive capacity. So as the asset is used, after we are using, what will happen? It will depreciate. So eventually having little or it has no residual value. Residual value means it has no value for the asset after using long period. So during the period of depreciation, the asset is called a wasting asset. For example, natural resources like such as gas and timber, these are all called wasting asset. That will what will happen? That will eventually are used and then they have no remaining value. That is called wasting asset. And another one thing, in the capital market, this can also be true. Some securities have a deadline for their purchase or sale, isn't it? So for in capital market, you will study in the 12th standard financial market and capital market. In the capital market, some securities they have a limited time for purchase or sale. In that case, in some cases, the security loses value as it gets close. When the deadline will come, it loses its value to the deadline. So this is known as time decay. This is called after the time was over, it lost its value of the asset, security. That is called wasting of asset. Are you clear? Wasting of asset means what? In depreciation we can know assets have a useful life, usually based on the period of time that they have a productive capacity. We are going to use the asset in a productive manner. After a long period, the assets is used, it depreciates. Eventually, they have little or no residual value. So assets like the natural resources, they have a limited useful life of time For example, gas and timber are the example of wasting asset. Are you clear? Now let us move on to what are all the factors determining the amount of depreciation. Actual cost of the asset means what? What is meant by actual cost of the asset? While we are purchasing the asset, what will be the cost? For example, 10 lakhs while purchasing the asset means that is called actual value of the asset. 1 lakh means that is the actual value of the asset. Are you clear? Now let us know about this. Factors determining the amount of depreciation, actual cost of the asset, estimated value of useful life of the asset, scrap value of an asset. What is the other factors? Actual cost of the asset means what? That is, actual cost means the amount incurred in acquiring or construction of the asset. While purchasing, what is that value of the asset is called acquiring or construction of the asset. So it is the acquisition or construction cost, or other name we call it as historical cost. Already in the first chapter cost concept you have learnt about this. Historical cost means while we are purchasing, what will be the amount value of the asset is called historical cost. The other name we call it as historical cost. So it includes all the expenses incurred on the assets to bring the asset to the present condition and location. We are purchasing the asset. For example, we want to purchase the asset from the factory. From wherever they are manufacturing, from there we have to bring the machine to our premises, isn't it? So for that we have to give lot of charges, expenses, like we have to incur lot of expenses like incidental expenses incurred till it is put to use. So we have to buy the machine and we have to bring all the way from the factory to our factory, isn't it? So we have to give a trial run. For that the person will come and give the demonstration for us. For that also we have to give some money. So purchase price of the asset, that includes purchase price of the asset. Whatever the price, for example 1 lakh means the cost of the asset. Then freight charges. Freight charges means the goods want to, if we are exporting the goods, we are importing the goods for the same machine means we have to pay the freight charges. Then unloading charges, loading charges. Loading means we have to lift the machine to the any other vehicle, and then loading, we have to load there and then we have to unload here our business premises. Then erection cost, without any jolting we have to erect. Erect means what? In all the machine, have you seen the machine just floor mill? What they have done? They have erected the along with the floor. They put the cement and they will constructed, isn't it? So that is called without any jolting. They have to put the cement and they will erect the machinery without any jolting. Then setting up cost. How to set, whether the machine want to set, we have to erect here. They have to put the cement this side on the four pillars, and then whether they need any lighting facility means that light facilities, and all the expenses of trial run are included in the cost of the asset. So all the including trial run, that also will be included in the cost of the asset. So if the asset is here, suppose we are purchasing the new machine means no problem. Suppose we are purchasing the second hand machine, what will happen? That is the initial repair to make the asset. See, initially we are going to give the repair expenses for usable, isn't it? That whatever the machine we have purchased now, that is not in a good condition. So that only they are ready to send the asset, the machinery to second hand. So for that we have to give the initial expenses. That initial repair expenses to make the asset usable is also to be taken as a part of actual cost of the asset. Whatever the initial expenses which will make reuse the asset, that is the cost of the asset for second hand machine. Then estimated useful life of the asset. What is meant by estimated useful life? The period for which an asset can be used in the enterprises. How long we are going to use the asset for our business premises? 10 years. Mostly 10 years, 5 years, 6 years. So years together only we are going to run the business. So that is known as useful life of the asset. It can be calculated in terms of period for which the asset is expected to be used by the entity or units of output to be obtained by the use of asset. How many units we are going to obtain by the use of the asset. So how long we can use the machine. So in this case, intellectual property already have stored patent rights, copyrights. These are all called intellectual property. So the legal life is taken as their estimated useful life. See, ISO machinery means it is a standard value. So we can use the machine for a long time, isn't it? So these are all called intellectual property. So which goods are having the intellectual property, by them we can judge the useful life of the asset. So Indian Companies Act 2013 has prescribed useful life of asset for the purpose of, for what reason they are using the useful life of asset. For the computation of depreciation only, they are giving the useful life of the asset. For example, useful life prescribed in part C of section 123 for general plant and machinery and furniture and fittings. These are all 15 years or 10 years respectively. See, plant and machinery 15 years and furniture and fitting 10 years. See, in our company we are purchasing the plant and machinery means 15 years we can use this plant and machinery. 10 years we can use this furniture and fittings. So for calculating the depreciation alone, they are estimating the useful life of the asset. Are you clear? Then scrap value of an asset. What is meant by that? The amount which is expected to be realized at the end of the estimated life of an asset. End of the estimated life. See, all the 10 years we have used. At last 10th year, what will be the value of the asset? That is called scrap value, isn't it? So, it is also known as scrap value or residual asset. It is also known as residual value or residual asset. In determining the scrap value, how we have to determine the cost we incurred for removal. How much cost we are going to incur for removal, or and sale of asset should be deducted from the estimated gross realizable value. Sale of asset, how much rupees we are going to sell the asset. Already how much rupees we have purchased. So whether how long we have used for 10 years, whether we are going to sell the asset in a realizable rate or we are going to incur loss. That is called scrap value. So for removal, cost, scrap value means what? Cost to be incurred for removal, and sale of asset asset should be deducted from the estimated gross realizable value. Sale of asset should be deducted. For example, 1 lakh sale of asset. See, at last 10th year, we can have 10,000 rupees. Sale of asset minus deducted from the estimated gross realizable value. For example, the person is asking us to give on the same 10,000 rupees. Means we can sell the asset. No problem. The scrap value, which value we have purchased. See, for example, we have purchased on 1 lakh. First year depreciation 90,000. Then the second year depreciation, what is the amount? 10,000 rupees. So it will go on. Last year amount will be, cost of the value asset will be 10,000 rupees. So the net realizable value, the person who is going to get the scrap as a machine at 10,000 rupees means there is no loss, no profit, isn't it? So it is called scrap value. Then other factors, what are all the other factors? Besides the mentioned all the above mentioned factors, there are legal factors, legal provisions. Technological factors also determine the depreciation. Legal provisions already I have told you for tax liability and also for the Indian Companies Act also. After declaring the depreciation only, after providing the depreciation only, they have to declare the share to the shareholders. For that reason, we are providing the depreciation. Are you clear to know the correct profit and view loss of the business? To know the true and fair view of the business. Then methods of depreciation, there are straight line methods, return down value method, sum of years of digits method, machine hour rate method, depletion method, annuity method, revaluation method, sinking fund method, insurance policy method. There are totally 9 methods. As a common students, we must know what is meant by depreciation. Now, 11th standard, we are going to know detail about straight line method and return down value method. Most of the companies are using straight line method, return down value method, machine hour rate method and annuity method. So remaining, let us know what is what. Now let us get into the first method, return down straight line method. Straight line method, the other name we call it as fixed installment method. Other name for straight line method is original cost method. Now let us know about straight line method. First 2 methods we can know in detail. Then only it is easy for us to do the sums, because all the sums contains these 2 methods alone. First method, straight line method. There are lot of names, various names for straight line methods are there, and return down value method. These 2 methods let us see in detail, and then let us get into the illustration problem. By then you can know easily.